Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be making a very quick overview of my portfolio, revealing all of the stocks that I do have on my Robinhood portfolio. As you can see here, I'm down about 7% since I started investing in my Robinhood portfolio about 9 months ago. But before this crash that we're seeing in the stock market, or that we did see, I was actually at about plus 14%. And the reason that crash looks so significant on my portfolio, because I mostly have blue chip stocks and safe investments. But the main reason that looks so significant is because before this, I was actually investing less than $3,000, and I've been investing pretty aggressively since this started. So that's why that crash does look like such a big dip. And I fully expect this portfolio to see a major increase, maybe not doubling, but a 50% increase if I'm really lucky once this mess is all over. First up is Tesla in my portfolio, and I actually originally bought Tesla at about $240 a share and then sold at $500. And because I believe in the company so much long term, I really wanted to get skin back in the game, so I reinvested in Tesla just because I do believe in the company so much long term. Next up are MasterCard and Visa. MasterCard is seeing a little bit better growth, and Visa is the dominant player in that industry right now. I just have a few shares, and I've actually made videos on all three of these stocks if you'd like to go check those out. Next up is Baba, which I've referred to in several videos, and they're an e-commerce giant in China, so investing in Baba is really like betting on the growth of the Chinese economy. And that really seems like a sure thing. Maybe not right now, but for the longer term, that's a sure thing in my opinion. Next up is Uber, which I have 8 shares of. I think they're going to see a huge increase in the stock price when they achieve profitability, steady profitability within the next year. So that's why I've invested in that. And then Salesforce, there's 2 stocks in my portfolio that I still have that I bought towards the beginning of when I started investing that I'm not huge believers in, but I'm not really looking to buy more of or sell it either. And Salesforce is one of them. Even though I still believe they're a pretty strong company, I'm not looking to buy any more of that stock. Take-Two Interactive is a really great video game investment stock, in my opinion. I've made a video on them on why they are so strong if you want to go check that out. You're most likely very familiar with Microsoft and Disney. Microsoft, in my opinion, is the best investment as a really large company out there, with the other one being Google, which I actually don't currently have any shares of. And then Disney, I think Disney Plus is going to be extremely successful for the long term. So I've been working on getting my dollar cost average down a little bit while the company is suffering right now. And then PayPal, I mentioned that I owned Salesforce because I bought a share towards the beginning of what I started investing, and I'm not really looking to buy or sell any more of PayPal as well either. Activision is another video game company, and they're starting to become really involved and successful in mobile gaming, which I think is going to be really successful long term, and I see myself buying more shares of that in the future. And then Tencent, a little known fact about them is that they actually have a 5% share in Ubisoft, which is a private company. So I thought that was pretty cool, but they're another Asian e-commerce company that's I see really good long-term success for. And then Airbus and Boeing, you're going to see Boeing a little bit later on here. I'm a really big believer in those long-term. They're both way down right now, 60-70%, and they're basically have a duopoly right now, so there's really no way that they can go out of business or face any real kind of bankruptcy. So I really can see my investment doubling on both of those within the next couple of years. I also have some Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines both in here, a little bit more controversial. But the stock prices of those, you probably know, have been absolutely hammered in the last few months with everything being closed down. But I'm a really big believer in those long term, and I think their stock price is going to return to what it was before the crash and even surpass that in years to come. And they also have a pretty decent dividend as well. And then Moat is an ETF that I have a few shares of. And that's an ETF that has companies in it that can't really be competed against in a very basic sense, maybe pharmaceutical companies or other brands and whatnot, that they have some kind of product that is differentiated and protected in some way. Next up are New Residential Investment and New York Mortgage Trust, a couple of really high yield dividend stocks that are kind of risky investments, but I believe will make it for the long term. I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying into these unless you do some serious research on your own, but I'm really hoping for a strong bounce back and a returning dividend for these two stocks. Next is Advanced Micro Devices, which has seen absolutely incredible growth on the last 2 years, and it's really steady growth too, which you very rarely see with the company. So I got a few shares of them around $40, and it's already way up, so I obviously wish I had bought a few more. And they announced that their chip is actually going to be in the Xbox Series X, which I'm sure is going to be really incredible for them and continue their growth. And then there's Royal Caribbean, which I already mentioned, and I have the 0.07 shares because when Robinhood came out with the drip fund or the dividend reinvestment, they automatically turned it on for me, which I really didn't want. And that's whenever you get a dividend for a company, it just reinvests it into the stock with a fractional share. But that's the only stock that I have that for, and I really don't want that going forward. CRISPR is a little bit more complicated of a stock, but they're the leader in research for genes and DNA, and I think they're going to do really well moving forward. And Vertex is kind of complicated as well, actually. It's a pharmaceutical company that develops a lot of drugs for diseases like cystic fibrosis, and they're a leader in cystic fibrosis research right now. So they've been doing actually incredibly well in the last year. And they're actually at an all-time high right now, which is kind of surprising with everything that's going on because they're not actually involved with research for everything that's going on right now at all. Next up is Virgin Galactic Holdings, and that's actually testing bringing people up into United States, and it's going to cost $250,000 for a ticket. So if you are a millionaire, I mean, that's pretty worth it to me. And a ton of Tesla investors are hopping on the bandwagon for investing in this stock. Next up is Boeing, which I really kind of already mentioned, but I only have one share, which I bought for $91, but I would like to buy another share if it can get closer to $100. And then there's United States Oil Fund, which I actually just made a video on if you want to go check it out. But oil is down really, really huge right now, and this is at an all-time low. So it is potentially a good investment for a swing trade in a few months or maybe a year or so. And then very last on the list is Jets, which is an ETF for airlines, as the name implies. And then Jets is very last on the list. That is an airline ETF, as the name implies. And I'd really like to start investing while everything is near an all-time low. But also invest in an ETF in case we are seeing some bankruptcies from airlines out there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some ideas for some more stocks you may want to do some further research on. And come check out my videos on my channel for more content and subscribe for more videos. Thank you so much for watching.